Immersion, a deep mental state of involvement. Some games can successfully pull this off, while others fail miserably. An example of a game that does immersion poorly is SpongeBob, Battle for Bikini Bottom. While the game itself is alright, the lackluster voice acting and world building is executed rather poorly. An example of immersion done properly is the subject of this video, Battlefront II from 2005. While newer Battlefront titles have had well-placed immersion, they fail to bring on the same amount seen in the titles prior. While I feel immersion is mostly subjective, there are some things that can make or break a game's immersive properties. Glitches are one thing that can easily break a game's immersion, especially ones that allow you to see uncompleted parts of the map or other things that should not be. An element that can really make a game shine in the immersion department is accessibility to interact. In Battlefront II, turrets are not only accessible, but actually give you a substantial damage boost and provide a significant amount of protection, which is something you don't see in the modern Battlefront games. Ambience and atmosphere also add a ton of pointers in immersion's favor by providing the player with a sense of a lively and active world. For example, some maps such as Hoth, where AT-ATs and AT-SCs wander around the map, implement characteristics seen in the movies in a creative and effective way. Despite being 17 years old, the AI doesn't seem as robotic as you'd think, and overall is really fun to play against. One final element that makes this game immersive in particular is that each map only has one pre-chosen hero per respective team. At first this might sound like a bad thing, but this adds more immersive gameplay than any of the previous elements I've mentioned. Let me explain. So on Dagobah, Yoda's home planet, the preset hero for the rebels is Yoda, and the Empire's preset hero is Darth Vader, who, in the movies, appears as a vision in one of the caves on Dagobah. This is just one example of many of how heroes change throughout maps. Well, not heroes, I should mention it is possible to play as creatures on their respective home planets, such as the Yeti-like Wampas playable on Hoth in a certain mode. Okay, I will admit I still haven't found the time to play through this game's campaign. However, I know the basic premise and I feel that it gives me ample evidence towards my case. Battlefront II's campaign puts you in the shoes of a clone trooper who is a member of the 501st Battalion during the Purge of the Jedi. You are assigned on missions and witness the rise of the Empire. Now, the reason I find this experience to sound so immersive is because we never see this time period or perspective in any of the movies, and getting to play it sounds like a whole new level of immersion. I promise I will get to this game's campaign one day, and who knows, I might even document it into a video. While I have previously mentioned heroes, I didn't at all mention their gameplay in depth. For lightsaber heroes, you can switch between force abilities to your needs and run around like crazy. You can also jump insanely high. For the Fett family, Boba and Jango, you can simultaneously fly and attack. Blaster heroes are basically just improved infantry. So how does this make them immersive? Well, you'd have to play to understand. Everything feels so fast-paced and action-packed, not a move can be careless. And playing as the hero in their respective scenes just feels so awesome. Something the modern Battlefront games lack is actively interchangeable weapons, a secondary. Battlefront II has a lot more variation in gameplay because of this. You can switch through explosives at any time for practicality, and weapons at any time for convenience or certain situations. For example, the Wookiee warrior, typically a long-range unit, has a grenade launcher for a secondary. This allows the Wookiee to be useful in more situations regardless of range. There are plenty of examples like this. Even Jedi can switch between force abilities. Now, I know how much these features actually immerse the player is questionable, but I find it immersive to be able to control a probe droid and switch between weapons depending on the given situation. On top of this, you don't have infinite ammo, meaning you have to be conservative at choke points, which adds a level of stress and makes it feel much more realistic. While I feel the class system feels a bit outdated, it is tradition for the Battlefront series, and this game is no different. For those who don't know, the class system is a system where you are given preset loadouts and you unlock points to unlock better classes. The second best class, the reinforcement class, is one of the most immersive parts of this game. Each reinforcement has their own gameplay mechanics, and to differentiate between jetpack troopers, they switch weapons. One has an EMP launcher as their primary, while the other has a massive lightning shotgun. My personal favorite reinforcements are the Clone Marine and Imperial Dark Trooper. These reinforcements are unique in their own right, but both extremely fun. The Clone Marine has a massive chain gun that takes a second to get going, but then it's hyperspeed from then on, while the Dark Trooper has a chargeable lightning pack. These are both great for getting streaks, and I usually deny the chance to get a hero because of the enjoyment and immersion they bring me. Overall, this game is great, immersive, and fun. At the end of the day, this is all just my opinion, and I completely understand if you disagree. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.